Hi and welcome to episode 17 of the eTravel Weekly Show from virtualmissfriday.com. I'm Michelle Dale and this is a show dedicated to providing insights into online business, mindset and travel for virtual assistants and digital nomads. So in this week's show, I'm going to be discussing trending services for virtual assistants and what you should be offering your clients in your VA business. There's a new PLR pack called Do It Yourself Video Creation. We're going to be looking in my eTravel Weekly Discoveries at hiring a virtual assistant for startups, the secret to productivity, and ways to make money while you travel. So let's get started with the show. So this week on the blog, I've written a post about what online services are trending for virtual assistants. And basically what I mean by this is what's trendy, what are clients asking for, what is the demand, and this is something that's always on a lot of people's minds, especially when they're starting a virtual assistant business. They're asking questions like, what should I be offering my clients? What is appealing to people right now? And the thing is these questions that are asked are all sort of quite relevant. They're sort of, what's popular right now, is the market saturated for this type of service that I really want to offer? And I think that a lot of people get too caught up in this. So when anybody asks me about trending services and what's trendy and what should I be offering in my business, this is the kind of advice that I would give somebody asking that question. First of all, you need to know if the trending services are sustainable. In terms of, this is trendy right now, but like fashion, things just change overnight. And in the online world, it's the same as fashion. What you bought from the store last week is now on sale half price because nobody wants to wear it anymore. So when you're thinking about this in terms of online services, we're looking at things like, what if you have a certain social media service which is trending right now, but then all of a sudden they drop a bombshell and they're not doing what you were offering anymore, or they weren't allowing you to do that for your clients anymore, or what if another service is trending and that service gets shut down? So, you have to think about what's sustainable. So the best thing that you can do really is think about variety. And if there is one thing that you want to specialize in, make sure you offer a variety of different multiple services within that speciality. So you don't restrict yourself to this certain trending thing that's going on. And I tell a little bit of story in the post about something that happened to us with SEO services. We focus primarily on a very specific element of SEO services, and it completely backfired on us in 2012. So if you're interested in that story, check the blog post out. Other important factors are whether you've really got the mojo for it, because basically if a service is trending and you say, right, this looks like a fantastic service right now, is it going to be something that you can do over the long term and not just get terribly bored with it or hate it? Because if you start thinking that you hate that service, whatever, you're going to start not wanting to offer it, and your business is just going to suffer for that reason. And another thing you have to be sort of realize is that, when you're offering these trending services or any services, that your reach is so far on the internet, you have no idea how many people or where they're going to come from, if they're going to be able to use a service or not. You're not restricted to just your local community or your local area. And I think a lot of virtual assistants have a little bit of an issue or a bit of a difficulty kind of expanding past what they see around them in terms of being able to obtain clients. So you're not looking at trending services, amongst your local community or the people in your network groups offline. Think about, right, I've got a whole, multi-billions of people out there on the internet that could potentially use my services. So no matter what it is, it's not like the trending services get the most hits in terms of, client hiring and things like that, or selling services to those particular clients. These clients can come from anywhere. So I explain more about it in detail in the post about what's currently trending in my business, and I do answer the question about what is trending, but it's maybe not as you think it should be. So check that out because it's an interesting post. I have another announcement. We have a new PLR pack in the PLR store. For those of you who don't know, PLR packs are pieces of content that you can take and publish on your own blog, your newsletter, do whatever you want with. Make an ebook from it. It's up to you. So we've got do-it-yourself video creation, and we've basically covered 5 core tools that people can use for do-it-yourself video creation. So you can pass this information on to your clients or your colleagues or whatever. There's Animoto, Video, Sparkle, Powtoon, and Go Animate. So that's another PLR pack available for you. Now, moving on to my e-travel weekly discoveries. I've got a couple on entrepreneur.com and one which we're going to look at from another site, but this really got me. Okay, so first of all, I like to stay up to date with anything to do with virtual assistants, and I'm not closed-minded at all when it comes to virtual assistants. You know, a lot of people say, well, this is a virtual assistant, this is a virtual assistant, this is a whatever. And I like to keep a very broad, open mind about virtual assistants in general, because I believe that that is the way that virtual assistants become most profitable within their businesses, if they do keep that broad, open mind. So I was reading this post on entrepreneur.com called How to Hire a Virtual Assistant for Your Startup Success or Startup Success. And I thought it was a really good article from Brad Hines, because he goes through basically, you know, hiring from offshore places, hiring on places like Odesk to fund your startup. And as we all know, startups generally don't have a lot of money. So it's good to hire in places where you can get economical help. That wasn't really the reason why I'm showing this to you. I was reading the article and I thought, okay, that's fair enough. You know, we're talking about virtual assistants in the States earning $15 an hour, and, you know, some in places abroad away from the States earning $3 to $6 an hour. Okay, a lot of people get upset about this when people start stating, you know, that you can pay $3 an hour. But at the end of the day, the economy is the economy. If $3 an hour is an excellent salary to somebody, you know, working offshore, then, you know, they don't have to take that money. They can charge more. It's just they do take it. So, you know, it's their responsibility to charge what they feel that they're worth, or what they need to survive. It's, you know, it's nobody else's issue. But anyway, that's beside the point, and I'm going off on a tangent here, as I do sometimes. But I was really surprised as I was reading this, you know, and he mentions about virtual employees. And, you know, when I read that term, virtual employee, or referring to someone on Odesk as a virtual employee, do you know, it never struck a chord in me, and I didn't think twice about it until I went down to the comments. And I was like, what? Because this is a real lesson to you guys. If you are a VA, okay, let's first of all look at this about... There is a debate on the term virtual employee, okay, and about the use of the word employee, whether it's a legal term or whether it's a term for when you employ people and you pay their taxes and national insurance and stuff like that. You know, the word employee to me is just a word. It's a word that you use if you basically hire someone, and I wouldn't necessarily call my team employees, because I don't consider them personally as employees. But heck, folks, if a client who was paying me a monthly retainer, who was great to work with, we had a lot in common, if he wanted to call me employee or she wanted to call me an employee, do you think I'd have a problem with that? The answer is no. I would not have a problem at all if this fine man, Brad Hines, decided that he wanted to hire me, and we agreed the terms and everything was fine. He was a cool guy, and, you know, he appreciated me, and he decided that he was going to call me an employee. I wouldn't care. I just wouldn't. Anyway, so there is this long debate about, you know, the word employee and how you shouldn't call virtual assistants employees and blah, blah, blah. Some people don't mind it, some people mind it, but it went on and on and on. And basically my point is, guys, you know, there's a VA in here who's also commented. If you comment on things like this in public, especially on a website like entrepreneur.com, really be careful about what you say, because you can look often at times really, really petty. And there is one comment here where this guy basically says, is this just me or is this a silly argument? Because all they're doing is going back and forth on this single word employee, whether it's legal or not, and blah, blah, blah. And yes, it looks silly. And any potential client is going to read that and think, I'm not going to hire that person because, she's getting upset over such a petty thing. So yeah, I mean, it's more of a lesson in what not to do in commenting than anything else, I think. But, you might be thinking to yourself, you might be really upset about the use of the term employee. And, I'm interested to hear your comments if you are. Okay, moving on. Why happiness is your secret to productivity. Again, this is a good article, but I'm not going to go into the article too much because this sparked, I thought really this sparked remembering a conversation that I had with my husband recently. And, my husband and I, we have desks sort of opposite each other in the same office, and he works in Virtual Miss Friday. And I just looked up to him and I said, I was actually working on something for a client, a program or something. I was doing some consulting work. And I was like 10 years ago, my husband's name is Dale. I said, Dale, 10 years ago, I never thought that anybody would be paying me to sit here and do something that I enjoy doing, where the time just kind of runs away with me, and I'm so engrossed in it and immersed in it that I'd probably do it for free. Don't tell anyone that. But I was just so kind of like, it hit me like some sort of epiphany, like a thunderbolt. I can't believe I'm sitting here doing this right now and being paid for it, and I never thought that was possible like 10 years ago. And then I had a sort of another epiphany. We were discussing it, and I was basically saying that when I was in the mindset about people who had money from their businesses, I was in the mindset that those people made their money by doing something they hated doing, and then once they had their money, then they could do something they enjoyed. Oh my God, how wrong is that? And he looked at me and he said, do you know, I always thought the same thing. So isn't that insane? And I think that's what a lot of people go through. And then this basically says happiness is the secret to productivity, this article. But it also says a lot more than that. It says that happiness is the secret to earnings, because the more productive you are, the more your money you're going to earn. I mean, now I work probably half the time that I used to work, and I get twice as much done, 3 times as much done, because I'm just happy. I love it. I love what I do. Anyway, in this post, it's got a 15-minute exercise of things that you can do to really kind of truly figure out what's going on with you in terms of your happiness and your productivity. So I think if you're struggling right now with this and with productivity, then take a look at this and go through the motions of doing that little exercise and see what comes out for you. But basically, if you're sitting thinking the same thing, that people who make a lot of money basically made their money doing something that they didn't love doing and really grafted and worked hard and killed themselves, and then they decided at the end after they made money that they're going to do something that they enjoy. It's so wrong. That's so warped. And I realize that now, obviously. But that's what I used to think. And I did an interview as well with a lady called Nicola, and she asked me about my attitude towards money. And I really said that the less I care about it in terms of worrying about it, in terms of, where is it going to come from, the more money I make. And that's so true. So that's a tip to take on board. Okay, finally, 11 ways to make money while you travel. Now, virtual assistants wasn't exclusively mentioned on this, which I was quite surprised at. Usually when I read these articles, I always expect virtual assistants to be on there, but it wasn't. But if you're thinking about doing something other than virtual assistants, there are other ways here that you can make money while you travel. And I know a lot of virtual assistants really want to travel, but they don't feel that they're getting enough money or income from their current client base that they've already got, so they can't quite take the leap. So my suggestion to you is subsidize your income with something else, until your business is up and running and off the ground. Think about what other things that you could possibly do to earn income, because another mistake that I made is I thought to myself, well, if I'm earning an income and I want to be an entrepreneur or whatever, I have to do it through one means. That's such an employee mentality. Oh, there's that word again, employee. It's such a sort of the mentality that you have one job and that's your primary source of income, one source of income. To think like an entrepreneur means thinking outside the box and thinking, what other sources of income can I get? And that doesn't mean to say that you care any less about your VA business, but it means that you could potentially look for other avenues of earning money. And I'm going to be doing a webinar coming up very soon on how to earn passive income for virtual assistants through your virtual assistant business. So as soon as that's up and running, I'm going to let you know about that. But there are ways that you can be a virtual assistant and earn other money, and it's not rocket science. So check out this article. If you feel like you're being held back from the travel, think about what other things that you could potentially do while you're building your VA business. And also they mention in here about freelancers and, doing things online. So I thought that was a good article, and it really gets you thinking about that you don't have to just stick to one income stream. If you want multiple income streams, you can do that too. So I enjoyed this show with you this week, guys, and as always, I welcome your comments, and it's great chatting to you, and I shall see you next week on the eTravel Weekly Show. Take care. Goodbye.
Thank you so much for listening to this show. For more eTravel Weekly episodes, you can sign up for a free digital backpack at www.e-travelweekly.com, where I post the video, audio, and newsletter, plus all the links featured inside this week's show. You can also subscribe via YouTube at michelleonyoutube.me or via iTunes at michelleonitunes.me.